Yeah, the matching hats are a good touch.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Made New project. In this special episode today, we are going to be covering the MidState Mile. So the recap, we just came off on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Depends on how far you ran out there. Graz's second ultra, my fourth time at MidState, so hopefully I'm a fifth-year senior and I can get it done next year. But, man, it was incredible out there. So we have a ton to unpack from two really different perspectives in the ultra community, which I think is kind of going to make this fun, where I kind of know everybody and everything about this course. Graz had never even seen the loop until the day prior, and then it also being his second ultra. And just so you have it, spoiler alert, we timed out one loop difference. Graz beat me by one loop. So really similar experiences, the both of us, but probably very different perspectives.
Oh, definitely. I was kind of hoping that you were on the same loop as me. I didn't know that you turned around. I thought we both started that loop and we'd both end together. So.
Yeah, I did tell somebody afterwards. I was like, well, I'm glad you got one more than I did.
Yeah.
Because I could have got more than you because I knew how bad your knee was. But I was like, what is the point right now? Because I was feeling it too.
I was definitely looking around for you at the end. And then I was like asking Becca, I was like, hey, Led's still out there, I think. And she's like, no, he's right here.
She knew. She knew.
Like, oh,
yeah, no. Yeah. But the MidState Mile, folks, if you don't know what it is a 1.1 mile loop consisting of 343 feet of elevation gain and loss per loop. You have 20 minutes to complete it, and then you line up again every 20 minutes. It's a last man standing format. It essentially means you either go until you quit or you're the last runner left. So you don't know when it's going to end. You don't know how long it's going to go. You kind of know based on what's happened in the past. The record was about 41 hours with 133 miles, which was shattered by Harvey Lewis and Mark Dowdle. And when I say course record it's really held by two people because you can only go as far as the second place person plus one loop. So if there's no way, folks, if you're done, if everybody else quits, you don't get to go more just to push the course record. So you can only go as far as the second place person. In this case, two rookies of the race, but definitely not rookies in the way of ultra running. Very accomplished runners, elite runners, sponsored runners.
Absolutely.
So they ran 160 miles, 147 or 149 loops, I think, and roughly 49 and a half hours, I think. I mean, crazy. Absolutely nuts. They went all the way into Monday morning, noonish almost. And it was great to share the loop with those guys. So just coming into the race, we talked a little bit about what it was going to be like having those people out there. Graz, meeting runners of that caliber, did you feel like any way about it at all?
I just, I was thankful to be on the same playing field. I think we talked about this the other day. You can't go out there and play baseball with a professional baseball player, but in the ultra community, you can line up with the best of the best on the same playing field. I thought that my adrenaline was through the roof. I was super excited. They're very personable. We met Harvey the night before, and he came up to us, introduced himself. I felt like it was a good vibe there the whole time. So
yeah, that's when my sister said, "I'm Dylan's brother" to Harvey Lewis.
Yeah, but she didn't know who she was talking to. So to be fair, I don't think she was nervous or anything. But then we kind of like picked at her after that.
She's just blonde. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Dylan's brother. Hey,
and
me
then they
too.
were all like,
brother, sister.
Right off the rip. And she was embarrassed when she found out who it was.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, wow.
I'm one of the big dogs.
It's fine. Harvey, he doesn't care. And we both spent a lot of time around Harvey.
Yes.
Mark, not so much.
No, I felt like I spent the majority of the race, definitely the night portion that I was in, the second 12 hours. I didn't make the full 12 hours, but the second little bit during the night, I was with Harvey almost every lap, it felt like. But not Mark. Mark was hanging around the back.
Yeah, he was in the back. And I talked to him. So the only time I would talk to him is like, folks, my strategy, like when I do poop loops, I do them the opposite of other people. So some people, a poop loop, folks, is you don't have time out there, right? We talked about the 20-minute loop. To do the loop fast, you now understand is 13, 14, 15. I mean, 13 is blasting. If you're going fast with some fatigue, 15 minutes is solid.
I ran my fastest laps at like 15:30. I thought I was moving.
And that's leaving you, and that's moving, like he's saying, like that's giving you 3.5, 4 minutes to poop and then start again.
Right.
I like to do it a little differently where start the loop, there's two porta-johns on the left side, pop in there, drop as fast as you can, and then get out, and then you have time to catch up. That's the way I like to do that. So that's the only time I spent talking to Mark, because he was literally, when I saw him, the last person, very back of the pack. And I kind of just asked him, what do you think? And he said different. That was the first words out of his mouth were different, which is cool, because I don't think nobody wants MidState, who's a veteran of MidState, or John and Becca, for it to be just another race, right? Everybody talks about how unique it is, how community-wise it is, and how it's just a completely different race. And that was the first words out of his mouth, and he's an accomplished backyard runner who's done over 72 hours, won one of the most, I guess, famous backyards there is nowadays, ran the Arrowhead 135, so he's just an accomplished runner. And for him to say different, he just said it was challenging, and he said to be good at this, it's probably a multi-year process. And I think anybody that's run MidState before probably thinks that. I mean, I'm sure you think that now. Like, you understand. Like, first thing you said to me was, I know how to train for this now. Like, I didn't train properly. I want to put in, like, the right training block next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like about Mark so much, not to jump ahead, but he was talking about how hard the race actually was. He's very transparent about how he felt the whole time. Even then, you knew he's probably in pain. So he held on to that pain for a very long time. Yeah. For a whole another 2 days from the time that he told you it's different. And for him to, give praise to MidState like that, I bet, other people see that from the outside, and they realize truly how hard this course actually is. And for me, I come into it, and I thought I could run a little more than I actually could, and it was more of like hill hiking, downhill training, and I wasn't fully prepared, but I think next year I'll have a better game plan coming into it. So yeah,
and I think Harvey also agreed that it was either the hardest or one of the hardest races he's ever ran before. I'm not sure what his exact verbiage was, and I don't want to like misclick on it, but I mean, he's run double Badwater, where he ran up Badwater and then back down Badwater, and that's known as one of the hardest ultras in the world. So I just wanted to give praise and congratulations to those guys as well, because they earned it, man. They came out, they had targets on their backs, they had no knowledge of Harvey had a little knowledge of the course. He'd done the Tennessee Mile 12-hour, but Mark had never seen the course, and they threw down for real.
Yeah, and then they've got to be carrying a lot of pressure coming into that. They have a lot of eyeballs, and then Mark's just won 2 back-to-back, and you know that he's feeling it coming out there, and it you almost kind of like feel bad for them that they're not just just out there just to race. They have that outward pressure on them probably every race, and that's probably likely why Mark put on such a show. I think he mentioned that he knew that he wasn't going to win, but he was going to push Harvey a lot longer than whenever I think it was like 20 more loops after he knew he wouldn't win. He stated online, and I feel like he's out there putting on a show for the fans and feeling that pressure to succeed.
Yeah, I know myself. Like, I mean, I'm nowhere close to having any sort of pedigree that those two do or following, but I know there was a point when I was in a mental low that I just thought about the people that support me, the people that had messaged me before the race, and that I'm sure were messaging me during the race and after the race, and like that drove me through tons of loops. Like, just like there's an expectation, and like I said, these guys have tenfold an expectation that somebody like me or you have. Like, they have sponsorships, they have like money riding on this, they have all sorts of stuff. And I know that I felt it personally. Like, I don't want to let down people that support me in this race, and had what I think is a mediocre performance, but other people, they would say differently. But yeah, all right, let's get into the race a little bit. So leading up, on Friday is kind of just set up and everything else. Graz met 1 million people. Yeah. So what was that like? Just kind of, you knew that like I'd known everybody just from being in the community. Was it kind of nice to have that like handshake with some people rather than being alone?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them online, just following them there. I'll be honest, it's a little overwhelming at first. Not knowing anybody, I maybe knew 2 people there, Kyle Sabo, you. That's probably the 2 that I knew coming in there. Becca and John. Yeah. And then before the end of it, I had met like 30 people, and it seemed like everybody knew who you were. So that was nice.
Well, yeah, I just been around a long time, but yeah. So for me, it's more of a like a family reunion in a way for me every year because people come from all over the country. For me, we drive an hour down, and it's like okay, like we're back, and that was one thing for me that I knew was off leading into the race is even coming down Friday. I didn't have the same like nervous feeling. I wrote last year in a post like when I come into that field and I see it open that like I get butterflies. And this year I didn't have any of it. You know, I didn't feel that same. I don't know, man. It was just different. And I don't, like I said, I think this all came out during the race, but I was really excited to see everybody though. And I knew that I had a bunch of buddies that had trained really hard and some new people to meet as well that I had just spoken to online, people with high expectations. And so Friday setup was fun. But I know at one point my dad ran the 5K as well, which was awesome. Like I don't want to glance over that at all. My dad is 59 years old, and he's 230 pounds, and he just started like working out and getting into fitness just so he could complete the MidState 5K, which is 3 loops on this course, 1,000 feet of gain, very tough running for somebody that literally doesn't run. This is not an easy trail in any way, shape, or form. And me and Graz went out with him on the first loop, and he's in the middle of the first climb, folks. We're talking a quarter mile to half a mile, quarter mile into the loop probably.
Coming up that first hill.
And he looked at us and just like, I don't know if I can do it that early. Then he muscled out 2.5 more loops, 2 3/4 more loops, and struggled. You know, but pushed.
I think that was probably the highlight of my weekend, honestly.
I agree.
I loved what I did. I loved being around the people, but it just as I get older, I gain more inspiration from others challenging themselves, and him accomplishing that is paramount to anything that happened for me this weekend. Just seeing him, I know he did a lot of training. He's gotten in the gym. He's bettering himself. He's finding his purpose in life, and at the end of it, after first half climb, he was in the dumps, didn't think he would do it, and then by the end of it, he's like, I'm going to run it 10 minutes faster next year. So
yeah, it was just really cool to see him push. Like we see it all the time from other ultra runners or in the army or anything, but to see somebody that there's no accolades for what he was doing out there. It was just for him. I mean, his friends came out and supported him, which was really cool too. He's not going to muster out a winning time. He's not going to get an age group award. Honestly, everybody probably expected him to fail. And it was just for him. And so I was so proud of my father just to see him do something so far outside of his comfort zone, like insanely far outside of his comfort zone. And I think probably his physical ability zone. Like, I mean, literally he was at his wit's end and pushed through the entire loop 3 times. And it was incredible to watch.
Yeah, running that first lap with him, I think we kind of agreed. We're like, we're going to let him do his own thing for the second lap and then battle whatever inner kind of fears that he has, get through it himself. And then we told each other we'd be with him on the third loop. So that was cool. We made it through the second loop. And at that point, he kind of already knew. He's like, let's get this last one done. Yeah. So it was a shift of mindset already. And letting him go out there by himself with Sarah was what he needed. Yeah. He needed to do something for himself, and he did it. And then he's like, "Yeah, let's bring it in for the third lap." So that really pumped me up the day before the race. So
yeah, I was pumped about it too. Just super proud, and it's a little thing like this isn't me like trying to toot my own horn anyway, but it's kind of a way where you guys can look at things and like there's a real ripple effect in things, and the actions that you do matter. You don't have to. I never once told him to get a gym membership. I never told him once he had to run the 5K. I never held him to doing anything. It was all on his own. But if I never, and this is like where God works in us so well, if I never find MidState, if I never run this race, he never gets to accomplish that, and like that's what it's about. It's not about what I've done. It's about just like some actions that we all do and other people see and gain inspiration from, then drive other people that are not in the community. My father is not going to be an ultra runner, right? But he is now working outside of his capabilities only because he sees so many other people doing it. Like, he knows more than just me or you, or he knows a bunch of these other runners now. He knows John and Becca, and they were super proud of him too, which was really cool, like seeing that support. But it's just, folks, the things you do, they matter outside of what you can see. But I was really blessed to see it literally within my own blood, my own family. That was, I don't think I would have expected to ever see that happen, to be honest with you.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what he does next year. Just getting 1% better every day.
Yep.
He even said it. He's going to be better next year. I believe him. I think it really turned a leaf in his life. So. Yeah.
Okay, so that was Friday, and then we hit the hotel. The hotel was a little sketchy, but it was fine. It was much better than the last race. It was fine. We stayed right down the road at the old deer field.
It was hard to go to sleep this time, but it was good.
Yeah, well, you were probably nervous. Yeah.
Well, it was just loud.
Oh, yeah. Some people were having a good time in the room next to us for about 7 minutes.
It was nuts.
Yeah. I'm like,
we're 2 for 2 on sleeping.
I was like, do you hear that? And he's like, and then you said no, and then you're like, yep, and I'm like, yep. It didn't last too long.
Yeah, it's 2 for 2.
Yeah, yikes! I forgot about that. Yeah. Then we went to sleep though, and we slept a good amount. Really, that's one of the best night's sleeps I've had before a race. Which also was, for some reason, for me, another red flag that like I'm not nervous enough. Like I'm not scared enough. Because I usually before races I can't sleep well that night before. Like I'm just thinking through all sorts of things, planning and all sorts of stuff. But I knocked out. Woke up in the morning, breakfast, everything else. We got down the road, got the setup done. Sarah was stressing me out, but I'm just kind of stressed out in general. Race morning, got lubed up and got the tent situation good to go, and then we were off. So first thoughts of all the people, we got out in the front, which I would tell anybody to kind of get out in the front early because it was jam-packed for a long time.
It was nuts at first. I felt like I was sliding off people, hitting people, slowing down, slinky effect.
Yeah.
For the first 12 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of people were hanging on. So. Yeah.
And we stayed close. It was in and out, but most of the time we were pretty close in time for loops. Mm-hmm. So I know that was kind of our plan, was just to stick around a 17 to 18, like somewhere in there. And we held that out for a long time. I don't think that either one of us really started vocalizing any issues until, maybe 10 hours in or so. I know that's when mentally I started to get in a rough place.
Yeah, I broke my toenail at like mile 10.
Well, yeah, that was right. Yeah.
I have lazy feet. I don't know. I hit a stump or something. Came back. I was like, I either have a blister on my toe or my toenail is snapped off.
Yeah. How early did you figure out in the race that this was going to be really hard? And in what way do you think it's hard?
I figured out in the first hill, honestly. I knew that I was in for a grind, but I didn't really feel it until around that 20-mile mark, 25-mile mark, and I was like, yeah, all right, this is going to be a grinder, because I was trying to keep up the 17-minute pace, and I was hitting all the gates, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if the humidity kicked on around 2 to 5 p.m. time frame, but I was just starting to feel the fatigue set in. So
yeah, I do remember at one point you were getting like in a rough spot for a second.
And I had stomach issues a little bit for a couple laps.
You were bloated, so we backed you off like any hard calories and put you on liquid calories for probably an hour, 2 hours,
at least an hour and a half.
Yeah. Because fueling strategy, I mean, it's really hard to like nail down a fueling strategy, but kind of just it's just constant snacking in reality. And if you overcarb, you get the bloat, right? And then you just have to back off of like heavy carbs. And, I told Graz, like, just come off, get on tailwind for a couple hours, and then that course corrected you, right? But that makes a couple hours harder than they need to be. And it's not a good feeling to run with that big distended belly. It might be sloshing a little bit. Like you feel a little bit woozy. I know it felt like every time we started a loop, until I got to like Myers, I felt weird in my stomach. Like it would take me some time to like get everything situated and then go.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
The whole time.
But the weather was great. In reality, the weather was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Much better than I expected.
So we pushed. That's 8 hours ish. Like I said, I started getting in a low around 10.5 hours. Just mentally, I was emotionally exhausted was the word I kept using. I could not wrap my head around another big effort, and I think Cocodona just lingered in the back of my head way more than I wanted it to. And then I started realizing, like, you've never done races back to back like this, especially big ones. How are you going to accomplish this? Like, everybody said it was going to be hard, and now it's hard. And like all this stuff started getting in there, and I was ready to go. at like 10 and a half hours.
Yeah, I think that's what this race uniquely brings out of you. It brings out all the issues that are in the back of your mind to face value
Yeah.
really quick. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's coming. Whatever you have lingering in the back of your mind that you're storing back there, you think you're going to hide it from everybody. You know, those thoughts come at face value real quick. So.
Yeah, and I got slapped quick. And really, I told somebody this, and I said, if the 12-hour intermission didn't exist, I'm probably out of the race around that time or sooner. But luckily, it was coming, so I was like, okay, like let me get to there. It's like 4 loops away or something, and we'll reset. You know what I mean? I'll get new socks. We'll get a new change of clothes. Like let's get dry too. One of the other, I just felt wet the entire time, and a lot of that was like the cooling towels, but really we were all sweating a bunch too, obviously, but I just felt uncomfortably wet for so long that it was like annoying me. How did it feel getting to intermission?
I was struggling. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. After about, you know, what were we at, like mile 25 to the intermission, so 39 is the intermission, right?
36.
36?
36 loops, 39 miles.
That was a hard stretch for me. I was like, I'm just going to hang on. And I started breaking it down little by little. Like, I'm in this mile, finish this mile. Okay, I'm going to finish this mile. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to get to intermission for sure. I'm getting intermission. I made it up in my mind. I was like, I don't know what was happening to me then. Maybe the GI issues or what, or you telling me that like you were mentally exhausted, which made me mentally exhausted. I was like, well, you know, because at that point I was like trying to get out a little further because I knew that climbing the hills at that time were slower for me. So I would speed up to the hill. I would be a little bit ahead of you, walk the hill slowly. You're a good climber. You would catch back up to me. We would be side by side, get up the hill. And I think from that 25 mile to 36 mile, I was really rough, but I had decided at one point I was like, I'll make it intermission.
Yeah.
You know, so that was that point for me.
Yeah, intermission's a big deal, folks. It's just getting through the first 12 hours. It's roughly 39 miles. You're also at, to do the math, 40 times 350, I don't know, probably close to 15,000 feet of gain at that point.
Which is way more than I've ever come close to.
And the gain is one thing. Graz will tell you too, everybody will tell you, the loss is what kills you. It's the descent.
Oh.
That first descent, you just learn to hate it real quick. It's the worst part of the course. I could do the climb. I could climb Myers all day, every day. But going down Devil's Dance, which is that first descent, I can't stand it. I hate it. And I need to learn to love it. And that's what I'm going to work on this year, is getting out there, hopefully some more, and just hitting that descent over and over and over again. Because, gosh, it sucks.
I think the descent's what took me out, like for sure.
Well,
Hurt my knee. Loose rock all the way down. It's pretty, you know, there's no holding it up. You know, you're trying to preserve the quads going down. You're trying to step sideways, get blisters from that. I immediately got blisters. My toenail was ripped off. Eventually my knee gave later on. But that's a very, very true statement. I could climb all night, I felt like. But it was the descent that got me as well.
So
it's something I need to work on.
Yeah. So also I just remember Luke went out around the intermission, and Luke is so much fun. So much fun. So much talking. He's very energetic.
Yes.
He's a fun dude. Told great stories.
I think he was like 2 or 3 laps after the intermission. So,
yeah. And a lot of stories were fine. In that first 12 hours, you're getting a lot. Probably it starts to dwindle down around hour 9 to 12 when a lot of the group is like, I need to make it to intermission, you know? And so, but in those first 8 hours, I mean, conversations were flowing. You probably met a ton of people. Does anybody like stick out in your mind that you like, or multiple people that you enjoyed meeting or talking to?
Yeah. I mean, like I ran a lot with Nate Sullivan. Nate crewed him at Cocodona. I really gravitated to that guy.
So good.
Seems like he's very similar to us. And definitely likes hunting and stuff like that. And I ran a lot of loops with him. Demi, we had this kind of like back and forth up the hill because we were together almost the whole time up the hills. I don't know if we were running the same paces or if she was just trying to hang around me to see if I would go out, because I think we'll get to that. But she was definitely trying to beat me. For sure.
Yeah. Well, you guys both climb slow.
Yeah.
Both
we climb slow, and she descends extremely fast.
Oh, ripping.
Extremely. The fastest one out there probably by far.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to her the week prior because I knew her from Tennessee Mile, And she told me like one of the things she was fearful of is all the people like not being able to descend at her pace, which I think she probably wasn't able to for a long time because we saw later in the race flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, anybody else?
I would say
go ahead.
Levi for sure. I have a lot
Levi's my boy.
I started talking to him probably first out of everybody, and we ran probably 4 or 5 loops, and we'd have such a good conversation. We were running too fast. I mean, we're running 15, 30, 16 minutes
easy.
in the heat, and I'm like, that's not my game plan. I told him, I was like, hey, buddy, I'll have to back off a little bit because I'm off.
That's classic
Levi. Absolutely love that guy. You know, we have a similar background, green and gold guy, just like me. Veteran, you know, we talked about Ranger School, all that stuff, and super cool. And his son Bentley, right? Bentley, yeah. Me and Bentley shared a lot of loops together, and we talked, and you know, he was telling me all about what he's got going on in life.
Yeah,
so.
and Levi's mom was out there, so
And
three
Levi's
generations on the course.
Kudos
really
to
cool.
her. She crushed it.
She did. I think close to a half marathon,
She
which
did.
is.
That
I think
was
she's
super
59
impressive.
years old as well. So yeah, and that's one of the best things about this loop and this race is the people you meet. You know, it's really unique in that way where you're forced to talk to these folks. You're not allowed to wear headphones. The course is very tight especially early. So you're just going to end up talking, you know, and sharing conversations and meeting people that you end up pretty much knowing forever. So super fun. So okay, intermission hits. What did you think of the intermission? So intermission, folks, is 20-minute break. You could do whatever you want. I suggest changing clothes, getting your feet dry, and sleeping as much as you can.
I did exactly that. I was a little bit scared of intermission because I thought I would be super sore after 20 minutes of stopping. But surprisingly, I needed I think I knocked out. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I wasn't in a deep sleep or anything because I could hear like things going on in the background. But I definitely changed. I changed socks. This is the time I realized my toenail was almost gone. Because I hadn't changed my socks yet. I just didn't want to look at it. And I honestly, I needed the intermission because I came out hot after that. So
I changed shoes at like hour 8. And that's pretty typical of me.
Yep.
I'll change shoes every 8 hours. I do this in most ultras, honestly, in reality. Didn't at the 50 miler because I knew we'd finish in like 10 hours there, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I like to get new cushion under my feet and stuff like that. I didn't change socks. It's just a shoe swap. Intermission, as usual, sometimes you sleep, sometimes you don't. There's also a lot of noise. This year, I believe the numbers were 58 people made the intermission. Folks, these 113 started. That's insane. Last year, I think that there was like 30. And so we still had a ton of people on the loop going out on intermission, and you also get poles, which you've never worked with poles before.
No.
I told you, you're gonna love them, right? And still, some people don't love them. But so what are you? So you come out of intermission. You said you're going out hot. How are the poles?
Poles are awesome. I've never used them, so I'm like trial and error up this hill trying to use them left, right, use them both at the same time. I'm doing it incorrectly the whole time, but it is an advantage for me to be able to use some of my shoulders to get me up the hill. And I started moving up the hill, man. I felt like it was a breeze. As soon as I got the poles, I was locked in for a long time. So.
Yeah, the poles are great. And I came out of intermission feeling better too, but I was still mentally in a bad place. I just really was for probably, I want to say maybe 2 more hours. At some point, I don't know when we turned, but when you and I started running fast loops, we were feeling good there. Like I was at a runner's high somehow, like 15, 16 hours into the race, maybe even earlier than that. But for a couple hours, maybe 3 hours, I don't know. But we were cooking loops and feeling good.
Yes, I think we went 2 to 3 hours, and I'd ran some fast loops, and then you were still not out of that like mental exhausted state, and you were like, I don't know, I don't know if I can put out a hard effort. So I was like, I made up in my mind, I was like, maybe I'm not being as good of a friend as I should be, and I should like get back there, and we should run them together and start. You know, we started talking to each other more, and we started gravitating and vibing off each other, and we started moving. We crushed probably up until like midnight, 1 a.m., crushing 15, 30, 16 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was even longer than that because
it might have been 2 a.m.
We went out around 3, so your knee thing must have happened.
It happened
right around 17 hours or so.
I ran on my knee for 5 loops. 5 loops.
Yeah.
So whatever time that is,
Yeah,
hour and a
roughly
half.
130.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Depending. Well, you went out like 340, 330.
Yeah, so that's so we were going hot up until that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and people were dropping every loop. This is kind of, once you get into the night, like people hung on after intermission for a second, but then you kind of just start in the loop again. And I know at one point my dad was like 7 people dropped that loop, and we were like, holy smokes, son.
That was significant. Because I kept, every time I'd toe the line up there in the corral, I'd look back and we have all these headlamps still, and I'm like, wow, we have a super competitive field.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really leaving it out there.
How was night running for you? Because this was a first for you, night running as well.
Honestly, I liked it way better. I mean, I was solely focused on the ground in front of me. I wasn't looking at the hill. Yeah, my headlamp was kind of dim, a little Walmart headlamp, but it's all right. It's all right. You got the job done. I was looking straight down. People were saying armadillos flying by. I can't see anything out there because my light is so bad. But, I mean, I was solely focused on the spot in front of me, and it made the climb so much easier for me rather than looking up and seeing how much more I had to go.
Yeah, so, I think that does make it easier. Yeah. It's like you don't see the climbs and stuff can be really intimidating in the daytime just because you can see how far it is. At night, you're kind of just one step at a time until, especially on Myers, once you hit that root section where there's a bunch of roots, like, okay, we're leveling out, we're at the top, and then you're kind of just cruising through.
That was exactly my point, the little root point about 3/4 up the Myers, where I was like, okay, I made it. You know? As soon as I hit that, I'm starting to like chomp a little bit and go faster.
Yeah, because I tell everybody, like, if you break Myers down, it's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes of climbing. Like, so you can do anything for 4 minutes. You know what I mean? You get through it, and then you get that next section's like the best section to run probably on the whole course, right? Like after the top of Myers down to Devil's Dance, like super flowy, double track, chill. Yeah,
you must run that, or you're going to be in a little bit of pickle.
Yeah, and we started cooking it. When we were cooking loops, we were moving nice through there. Yeah. Like, it was feeling good. Also, I think a lot of people expected the night to come with, like, cooler temps. It felt humid as crap.
I think it got more humid as the night went on. I started sweating bullets. I don't know if my body was, like, refusing what I was doing, or it felt hotter, but the temperatures were, I think they got down to 67 or something like that.
Really?
But the humidity was definitely more than during the day.
Yeah, because this is when we started winning loops in the night. Like, we were in the front. Yeah. Me, you, Brian Baker.
Brian Baker was up there every time.
I don't remember who else, because we'd get past eventually, but we were, like, real close to the front for a long... Aaron was up there for a few.
He stayed up there the whole time, and a couple other people did as well.
Yeah, it's something that I kind of want to play with, is running more loops at that speed. But I wouldn't do it if it's really hot, because it is more effort for sure.
Well, here's the thing. Harvey was, I don't know if it was strategy, but Harvey would come out there blazing at night, get to Myers, walk really slow up Myers. And I think that, thinking back now, it's like strategy. He's slowing heart rate. I mean, he would get to the hill before me, and then I would be right behind him. And I could just see him. He's like taking one step, he'll breathe. And then like now that I look back in the race, you don't think of these kind of things. Like maybe I should have slowed down a little bit and controlled the heart rate. But yeah, Harvey was even carrying a pretty good pace that first night. Moving through the course. So.
Yeah. So we move into your knee. So what happened with the knee? Exactly.
Yeah, so it's on that, what they call it? The
Devil's Dance, the first descent.
Yeah, so coming down, I had ran a couple really, really fast loops with Brian Baker. I think I got him once, and he didn't let me get him after that. But I was trying to keep up, and just I was on that runner's high. Honestly, I wasn't really looking at time as much. I was just kind of feeling it. I come down, and I was coming down sideways because I have this toe. So I kind of was like pivoting sideways, and the inside of my knee kind of buckled. And I was like, okay, I felt a little bit of pain right there. I knew I did something, but it hadn't fully kicked in yet. I was like, adrenaline was keeping me through, and I would finish the lap. And then that was probably the first mile that I ran on. And then the second mile, I was like coming downhill. Everything's good. I could climb good, everything. But I didn't feel it till the downhills. I don't know if it was the jarring on that particular part of the knee. But it started feeling like a hammer was hitting me in the side of the knee. And I was like, I was in the dumps at that point. For the last 5 miles, I was already in my head. I was like, in my mind, I know I can go a lot further. I definitely could go a lot further. But it seems to be when I train so hard and I do these kind of things that my body doesn't always hold up. And it was at that moment I was like super bummed out, but I knew that I could push a little bit further. So I went probably 5 miles on the knee at that point. But it got to the point where I was basically walking down the hill, like hobbling and jumping. If you've seen the live feed, if you go look back at it, the guy that's jumping and hobbling sideways using the sticks as like a brace to stop, that's me for sure.
Yeah, it looked like you were almost dragging that leg behind you on the descents.
It was rough, but no issues climbing. Like I would come right back out of the downhills, and I would be able to climb pretty well.
Yeah, somehow that put me in the dumps too, because that we were running good. Then you hurt your knee, and like I was feeling some pain in my shin, but like that's pretty natural for me and my front ankle. But like I was also just looking for a way out. Like I was just, like I said, I've never been so unexcited to run that loop. Like I love the loop. I love the grind, and I'm really glad like I made it through the mental load that I did. But at no point was I really having a good time on the loop. And that's pretty rare for me. You know, like I was having a good time with people, good conversations. The loops we ran, like I loved them, but I just wasn't excited. It was so strange. So strange. But yeah, once you hurt your knee, I was like, dang, that's not good.
Yeah, because I had a goal to go as far as I could go, and I really don't think I accomplished that. My body kind of like freak injury, whatever you want to call it, but my body didn't carry me as far as my mind did. And maybe next year it'll hold up a little bit longer. But also, I was starting to feel like what you were feeling. You were starting to talk about your shins, and I know from being your friend, like the shins have been an issue for you in the past. Stress fractures before. You've ran through it. You could, you know, and at that point, I think we talked about it as like, this race is going to go on for a very long time.
Yeah.
At that point, you have to be like, hey, do I want to recover in a month or two and be able to run again, or do I want to do something serious where like I'm out for half the year, you know, and all for a race that's going to go 2 more days. At that point, you can kind of realize like the pack was still pretty wide out there. We had
I'm kind of interested to see where we finished, like numbers wise.
Yeah.
But I think somewhere around probably 20.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, 18 hours in. I mean, I'm telling you, last year, folks, at 18 hours in, there was probably 6 of us, 8 of us, maybe.
I was looking at the old stats and looking at the mileage, and there's people who were finishing top 10 and close to that mileage, you know.
Right,
and I'm like, whoa, you know, and then this year it's not even close.
Such a different race.
Can't even hold a candle, you know. So could be the weather, could be something else. I don't know.
Yeah, last year we had the mud and the rain and everything else. This year the weather was great. The field was really tough. The trail was manicured great. So of course, shout out to John, Becca, anybody that helped out with that. But yeah, it was crazy because last year at 24 hours, there was 4 of us. This year there was 12 people at 24 hours. And I think all 12 went like another 2 hours past that.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that either the race is getting more competitive or conditions matter that much. And it might be a mix of the 2 of those things. But it was impressive how many people were left in the race that deep.
I think there's a lot of people who have put a lot into their training and they come prepared. Whether they were surprised by the hill, never been out there, rookie. You know, there's a lot of people out there that were extremely physically fit, and they put it in when it counted. So,
who do you think was the biggest drop while you were in that surprised you?
Ooh, Audrey.
Audrey's
Can I say that one? Yeah. I thought she was flying.
She's a beast.
She was climbing the hills. I was watching like her crush me up the hill all day, and I think she ran into some GI issues later on as well. Couldn't eat, couldn't take in calories, and I thought she would have went pretty far. I don't know. I haven't looked at who dropped.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I mean Luke as well too. I know that Luke has ran this race very deep before, but he is very vocal and transparent. That's what we appreciate about him out there, and he come into it not really have trained at all. You know, he's just mentally going in there to do it. You know, so I knew that he dropped out.
Yeah, with his cross country student or whatever, right? Mia, I think her name was.
Yep.
She did great. I don't know how far she. I said at some point she was just gone. I don't know when that happened.
Oh yeah, and any other big names that dropped out?
Doug was early, and that surprised me.
Doug, yeah,
Doug Moore, who's done great out there multiple years, and he put in a huge training block. And like I said, I don't know what number he was out at. I just knew at some point he was out, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I thought Doug would go very far. I mean, I've been following along his journey. He does Tennessee Mile as well in the winter in December, and he's putting in a lot of miles in this course. But you just don't know what's going on in people's head at that time. And Nate Solomon PR'd, and I was like,
Nate was big dog.
Yeah, and Nate dropped, and it's just kind of one by one, and you're just like, and then you just keep getting on, you keep going, and eventually it was my time and your time. So.
Yeah, and so deciding not to continue, what was that feeling? Like having your wristband cut, like all that. So what happens is like if you made the loop, right? But you decided not to go on another one, just probably for injury. But then they cut your wristband off. Your race is over. Like what is that? How did that feel?
Honestly, it was like a rush of emotion. So much emotion, I almost was delirious at that point. Like, I wasn't feeling anything like that before, but as soon as they cut it off, I was talking to Becca, the race director, and all of a sudden I started feeling loopy after that. When I knew the race was over, it's like my body just let go of all the emotions I was holding in, and I wasn't making sense of anything talking. Like, I don't know if, like, I was physically holding in all that, and then all the emotions started coming out, and I basically just crashed. I don't know. I almost like energy dump,
Yeah.
And super sad immediately. And in my head, I was like, "Dang, I feel like I could have went further." And I was sad. But having you there to like tell me like, "Hey, good job," and console me a little bit about it, and I just felt like. Like you said earlier, your parents were out there, Sarah was out there, Brandon was out there, my wife and kids were out there crewing. I felt like because they were staying up so late through the night that I didn't really want to drop that point. I wanted to make their time worthwhile. Mm-hmm. So, I mean.
Yeah, it's tough, especially in a last man standing. I think it's so much harder than finishing a point-to-point race or something because you see people keep lining back up. And you almost immediately want to be in the next loop, and you can't. Your race is over. I know that even we slept there for a second in our chairs for an hour, and I know when I got up, it's just like the initial feelings like I should still be out there. And it's really hard to wrap your mind around for a little while that you're not out there.
I mean, what were we, like an hour and a half away from daylight? I really wanted to make daylight, maybe. And if you make daylight, you're not very far from the next intermission.
Yep.
So I was, as soon as I took that little hour snooze and I came to, and I see Kyle Sabo out there just hammering another lap, and I'm like, wow. And then Levi comes in finally, and I think that was his last lap, like right around
before daybreak, right
yeah.
in there.
And I was like, amazing. I should still be there, and hopefully next year I have a better race if I get in. So
yeah. So the race continued on. I came back, showered, everything else, and then went back down. But anyway, who surprised you? Like, whose performance was legitimately surprised, or performances?
Performances?
Like, who do you think, like I said, surprised you, Like, when you got up the next day, or it was, it was Sunday, or even into Monday, like, who do you're like, holy crap, I can't believe it.
Dude, honestly, Kyle Sabo. Yeah. We just ran with him a snaketail, and I ended up getting him in that race, and being my first ultra, and then Kyle Sabo's running over 100 miles. I'm like, get out of here! This dude is crushing it. Yeah. I thought for sure he surprised me big time. I mean, he's a fit individual. Runs 10 miles a day for a full year, folks. Yeah, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. And I think Demi made it to like what 90 something.
Yeah, I mean 6th overall.
Yeah, at that point, like, we had a little conversation when I was on my last lap. I said, hey, I'm dropping here before I come down that last little downhill. And she's like, I was just waiting for you to drop. So I thought she was out pretty soon after that. It turns out she had another 30 miles in her after that. So, I think her goal was to run for 30 hours, right? Is that what she stated? She at least wanted to get 30 hours. And
she did.
I think she really turned it on. And them two, Kyle Szabo, Demi, were like amazing. Preacher runner, crushed it.
Yeah.
But I knew that he was...
Blake Hughes.
You can just look at him and you knew that he was coming there for runner. Something. So awesome to meet Blake.
No, I would agree with you, though. Kyle Szabo, because he's run mid-state. This is either his third or fourth year. Yeah. And never touched where he got this last weekend. So, and to see somebody we know personally and have spoken to, and I met him at Hail Mary one year. I was running there, and just met his family and stuff, and I've known him ever since, and he's a great dude, and so it's really good to see him get kind of the effort that I feel like he deserves.
I think he was locked in. He really was locked in, and he is a great guy. We talked a lot on the last Ultra together, and his journey. And he looked like he slimmed down for the race. I'm not sure if he did, but he looked like he was ready. From the get go. So
let me see if I have any questions. But Brian Baker too, and both of those guys. What really impresses me are the people that come in like 19 minutes, like they're struggling to make it in, and go another hour or 5 loops, and it's like that is so hard to do.
I would say insane strategy by Mark Dowdle. He's probably like 18 minutes or slower on every lap of the race, and on my final lap I knew I came in with 30 seconds. I'm going downhill, and this is the first time I see Mark and they call it you get behind Mark, you're done, right You're done. He comes by me and says, good job, brother. Just keeps on trucking.
He's a beast.
Dude is a hoss. Just straight strategy the whole time. Hang back, preserve any energy that he had, and keep the heart rate low. Just keep trucking. It's almost worse like that, but I think he lives in the pain for sure. Yeah. He walks the walk.
All right, so first one from my buddy Richie Lasora. What is the best pace per loop to get everything you need done? Handheld water or no? Go ahead. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think I liked more time in the chair, and I think this is very dependent on the person. How much time do you need to lower the heart rate, get what you need, get the calories, get the drink? But person like Mark Dowdle, he wears the belt and he carries the food and drink with him, and I think that's something I'll probably try to do in the future is because I did have my belt with me. I have the same exact one, and I didn't use it, but I think whenever eating or drinking gets tough for me, I think I'm going to start carrying it out there with me and just slowly munching throughout the night. And but honestly, I think 16:30 to 17 minutes is the sweet spot for me. I think it's truly dependent on the runner, though.
Yeah, it definitely depends on your crew, how much time you need to cool. It can depend on the weather. Because I'm typically a 17:30, 18-minute guy. But I felt more comfortable when we were running the 16:30s and 17s. More time to sit, But I also because exactly what you're saying with Mark coming in with barely any time and taking his calories out, I wonder how much effort is conserved doing that.
Right.
If you don't need to cool, if you don't need to sit, I do wonder with leg fatigue and stuff like that, you're never getting off of your feet and stuff like that.
Right.
But I do think that I'm going to really do some playing around with this, but really changing up how you do your loops. I think a big thing has been pushed, be the same exact loop all the time. And I don't know how necessary that is. Maybe when you start to get more fatigued and you don't need to cool, you could slow down and do 19-minute loops for a couple hours, let your body kind of decompress a little bit almost, and then go back to a faster pace and get time to cool it. I don't know.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. For me, 17:30 worked well during the day because I did need to cool. I was hot, and I need that. I run hot, I always battling cramps or whatever. But I think the slower during the day helped me. And honestly, it might work, differently if you run faster than during the day to get more cooling time, and then slower at night. Getting just the calories on the go and just keep on going throughout the night.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if sitting in the chair makes you a little more tired or helps you out, but I felt like I was just listening to my body, and I was like, I need a little more time in the chair. So.
Yeah. Cameron Edwards, most unhinged thing you did during the race? I did a cartwheel at one point. Besides that, nothing really. Like I didn't. A lot of people will like pee their pants, so that's probably slightly unhinged, I guess. I don't know. What else? What did you do?
I didn't do anything unhinged, but I don't normally just wear blazing, leggings out there. But as soon as night came, I threw the leggings.
You were
out.
in your underwear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But it's common. Like you can tell. Like there's so many people that just run in their compression shorts or running tights or whatever. It's not. I don't do it. I've never done it.
Yeah, but I tried that
at nighttime. So, it seemed to work all right though.
I guess that's unhinged for me.
Yeah, you were in bright blue compression shorts.
Oh yeah. You can see everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mantras you told yourself during the race to keep going. Go ahead. I have plenty.
Yeah, I would say living in the mile. Get that mile done. It's 20 minutes. I had times on the course that I wanted to hit. I was like, stick to the game plan. Live in the mile. Don't look too far ahead, because it definitely helped me at night. I was living for that 1 mile. I didn't know how far I could go, but that definitely helped me. That was my mantra. Stick to the plan, stick to my times that I wanted to hit at each benchmark along the course, and then, stay within that mile and not think too far ahead.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. One of mine was just, what story do you want to tell? Because when I wanted to quit early, like 10 hours in, it was one of the first things that hit me. Like, could I quit right now and everybody understand? Absolutely. Sure. You know what I mean? But what story do I want to tell? And I knew at one point there was a part of me that just wanted to get through that low. I did not know if it was going to be possible at all. But I knew that if I did, there would be growth and there would be a story to tell that then could inspire other people, or just give me the knowledge that if this comes about in another race, I can get through it. And it was at one point when I was in that space where I just did not want to be in the loop and I wanted to quit every single time, and my body felt great, felt so good, but I wanted to quit. I wanted to be done for so long. I would just kept reflecting on it. If I can get through this, it'll be a win. Anything else that happens doesn't matter. Like, it will be a win. And so there was that one. And then there was, is this my best effort? And that was because, like, anytime I go do something like this, like, even in my regular life, like, I tell God, like, I'm going to give you my best effort. And so I would just ask myself, is this your best effort? Like, if you're to quit on this loop, is that your best effort? And I kept coming up with no. Like, this is not your best effort. So it didn't become, what loop are you going to get to? What place are you going to take? It was, where is your best effort in this race? And at this point, I knew I was not going to win, which was obviously the ultimate goal, right? A very far-fetched one with, whatever I was dealing with. But the goal just shifted from not a place, not a time, not a mileage, best effort. And what does that look like? And I think it's why now I do have some sort of pride in the mileage and the effort that I put up, because I know that I worked through something that I hadn't before, and that if I was to come to face with God, I could tell him that it was my best effort, minus injuring myself. I could have done more loops, but I think I would have ended up injuring myself. So it also became just what's smart, and I think both of us kind of have, a lot of people have an issue with running as hard as they can every single race. And it is so hard to back off of that. It is so freaking tough. Like, you probably could have done more loops on your knee and continue to damage it just for another mile. And just for, like, at what point do we become mature enough runners to be like, I have to pull out of this one for longevity of something that I love doing? And I think that also played in my head. And we talked about it, like, this is probably the smart move.
Yeah.
Just a hard one.
I agree with everything you said.
It's just a hard one, and it's hard because races like this that are super important, and I mean, Graz, this race is becoming important to him. It's a year away that you even get the opportunity. It sucks.
It's like waiting for Christmas.
It's for me, it's better than Christmas.
Yeah. Man.
So it's really depressing, literally depressing for me to think about how long it is until I get to do this again. And it's what I struggle with after a lot of these races, especially when the outcome isn't what I really wanted it to be, is that how long I have to wait, and the amount of effort that has to be put in between now and then to then be better the next time I show up, and to know the competition's getting better, and to know how hard I've worked, and just to know that like all that has to happen again, and I have to wait and wait and wait. But it's also exciting.
Yeah.
But I get depressed.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Give your best effort. I feel like maybe coming up short a little bit, but then I think about it. I think the only thing that gets me past the depression of the end of the race is the opportunity to train for a year. I'm super excited to know how it feels and what I need to do to be better next year. So I am extremely grateful that I get to train a year.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, there's two things I wait on for now during the year. It's hunting season. Now it's going to be Midstate. So
yeah,
it's going to be exciting.
Addictive.
Yeah.
The race. Okay, David Alexander, at what point did you realize you weren't going to hit your goal? How did that feel? So Graz and I had similar goals of really just as many as you can, and neither one of us, like I said, as much as I've done the race, this one was unique for me because of Cocodona being 5 weeks prior, so I didn't have a train up, essentially. So I really didn't know what my body was going to be capable of, and Graz didn't know what his body was going to be capable of because he's never done anything like this at all. Not any type of elevation like this, not a last man standing format, definitely not on this loop. So it's hard to say at what point did you realize you weren't going to hit your goal, but how did it feel?
I think for me, it was whenever my knee buckled. Yeah. I felt like I could go a lot longer, and at that point, I knew I wasn't going to reach my goal. I knew that this wasn't something that was just like a misstep. I definitely hurt myself, and then the hammering I felt like a hammer on the side of my knee for like the next 5 miles, and I knew in my mind that I wasn't gonna go to complete like just utterly failure with the knee feeling like that. I think that was my point whenever I knew. I mean, to be clear and honest, the only time I checked mileage in the race was right before the intermission, and that was probably it because I didn't look at my watch. I felt it buzzing every time I hit a mile, but
I turned that off.
I wasn't looking at my watch. Yeah. I was literally just running and seeing like how many people were out there, talking to people, and I just knew that I had to make intermissions. So yeah, that's the only time.
For me, at what point did I realize I wasn't going to hit my goal? And let's say my goal was winning. Let's say that's what it was. Probably like 10 hours in. Yeah. Once I hit that first mental low, like that was the first time it at least crossed my mind. But then, like I said, then I kind of bounced out of it. And when you and I started running fast, there was a lot of hope there actually for me for a little while that like you might be all right. And then the shin pain started, and I was like, maybe like this isn't the right race to really extinguish myself. And I said something about this, but last year I pushed on that injury for 8 or 10 hours for the result of third place. In my opinion, it was worth the 4 months that I had to take off of running because of the injury I sustained for the third place at Midstate. This year, if I would have pushed 8 or 10, and this is in my head going there too. I mean, there's so many people left. 8 or 10 hours. I didn't even know if that could crack the top 10. And at that point, that would not be worth not being able to run for 4 months. So my mind got there, and that's kind of when the goals left. And I'll be really honest here. I was relieved. I was so ready for the race to be done, and I had been picturing quitting for so many hours that I was happy that I felt injury. As much as that may sound, I don't know, disappointing to people, that's the truth. That's the God honest truth, is that I was so happy to be done because of how much I hated the race this year. And like that sucks for me to even say out loud, and I hated, but like if I'm going to be honest, that's the truth. Like I felt relieved that it was done. Until about an hour later, then I was pissed.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, for me, whenever my knee started going out, I already started thinking about what I need to do for the next year. Mm-hmm. So I was, at that point, I was I was trying different things in the course. I was walking on the left side of the hill versus the right side of the hill to see which one was easier, or how I could navigate it better. I was just trying to gain experience for the next couple miles while running on this knee, but my mind was so tuned in to like already preparing for next year in the middle of the race, which is sad because like my time's short-lived here for a couple more miles. So I was trying to get everything I could out of the course to see what I could do better next year, what part of the course would be more efficient to navigate. So I felt the same way. I was like, oh well, no one's gonna fault me for hurting my knee and tapping out. So
yeah, what's one thing that you would change about the way you race this year, next year? Just knowledge of right now, if there was one thing or a couple things that you're like, I would definitely do this different. Is there anything?
Yeah, I think I would have took it a lot more careful on the downhills at night, and I think that's when I hurt myself. I think if I would have just preserved myself a little more in the night instead of hammering down like I was trying to run at the top of the pack, I think I would have lasted a lot longer. I think taking a mark approach at night and chilling and going slower and being a little bit more methodical would have kept me in longer. So
yeah,
I would have changed that.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So there were a few things. So I guess I want to just get your opinion on this. So I guess when Aaron went out, Aaron was third. I guess Mark, like, verbally out loud said, just like we planned it, Harvey. And so a lot of people, apparently I wasn't there, took this offensively.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I found out today in this group chat that I'm in. And what do you think? I just want your opinion on this. So apparently, like I said, Mark and Harvey, they're rookies to the race. They are the elite sponsored athletes showing up, pretty much the only ones. And they had targets on their back. We all wanted to beat them, no doubt. We all, if you could put those people on your list, they're like, I outlasted them at any race, you would tell people, And so they fought, and Aaron's a past champion. He went out. Mark exclaims this. People are upset. What do you think of it?
I think you take it two ways. Like we said earlier, they got a lot of pressure on them. Pressure to do well. They probably did a lot of research on Aaron and his training and how well he's done. And, at that point, I think that Harvey and Mark also had a little bit left over, from BPN, where they battled it out there. But I think at that point, that was the monkey jumped off their back. They're like, okay, we've shown everybody that we can come here and we are the final two. We're no joke. The pressure is off now. Let's race. That kind of perspective. And then there's another perspective where, like, Aaron is the kind of guy that picks up everybody. He wants to go far. He's going to, when you're in your lowest of lows, he's going to give you the advice that you need to get you a little further because he wants to go further, right? And then Aaron, also an extreme veteran, it's kind of, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like that kind of thing shouldn't be verbalized, but hey, it's a competition, and maybe that was his motivation to go a little bit further. I think that's an internal kind of thing for me specifically. If I felt that way, I would keep that internalized versus, someone like Aaron, who very likely carried the group a lot longer than they thought they could for a long time. And I know, like, Aaron gave me advice when I was in the dumps, when I was having GI issues going up the hill. Aaron is first class, right? Yeah. He is a man of God, and he's a great family man. And, to hear that, wow, I'm caught off guard by that. But I thought that, like, and if they were to drop before him, I don't think Aaron's the guy that would say that ever.
Well, I don't think so either. Right. But I do agree with you that these two had targets on their back, and I think that a lot of this was just legitimate emotional relief. That because if it, so I put myself in this spot. If it was you and I, and we became the last two, I think there's a high possibility I say the same thing.
Right.
Maybe,
I'm not doubting. I'm not like down or trying to throw darts at anybody.
No, but I think there's validation to do it too, right? I think there's validation to say, oh, this was disrespectful. But when I look at it, I'm a competitor. I'm competitive. Yeah. I want there to be competitive nature in a race, and this is a race where the community is much stronger than a road marathon or something like
Right.
this. You're literally shoulder to shoulder with people for hours, you know? But there's no way I can fault a competitor
Absolutely not. Yeah.
saying something like that when Mark and Harvey had built up weeks talking to each other. This was their plan, to be the last two. They wanted to be the last two. They wanted to come into an arena where nobody wanted them to be the last two. Nobody, as much as we both love Mark and Harvey, I didn't want them to be the last two, and I don't think anybody else did either that was running the race. They wanted us to be able to beat them, the course become an equalizer, and all these types of things, And so I think that it's fair game in a way. I don't, if somebody took it disrespectful, I can understand, but at the end of the day, this is competition.
Yeah.
And this is running. And Mark has shown that he's obviously not some person holding a vendetta or thinks that everybody else isn't as good as him or something like that. I think it was just he fought for so long and hurt for so long. Really just, I think that his motivating factor was probably just to get to him and Harvey. At one point, it's like, I don't know how much longer I can hold on, but I've got to get to that. Because we said we were going to run together in training for bigs. We are on the World Backyard team together for the USA. Like, I have to get there. And so when he got there, it was just like, we did it.
Yeah. I mean, I have been extremely competitive in my life in some things, and verbalize things like in the moment, the emotion. Like to second what you said, I think that there was a lot of pressure on them to do well. And at that point, maybe he just, dumped a lot of emotion at that point. And maybe they had some sidebar conversations along the way that saying that them two, they made a pact or a promise with each other, like, hey, this is, us two, let's get there and then let's battle it out. I think there's leftover from BPN, and Harvey definitely showed that at the end. He was not going to stop. You can see that. Stop. So
no, and I understand it also being taken as disrespectful. Like, I wasn't there to hear the infliction or how it was said, but even if I was to look at it in the most disrespectful way, I can't fault it. This is a race.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
And people have to have thick skin. So I personally wouldn't have been offended if someone said that whenever I got out. I mean,
I would have been sad.
I think,
what I mean? Like, and that's understandable. And I'm sure Aaron was sad. So. Yeah, I think Aaron understands, but I'm sure in the moment for his family and for the people around, I can definitely see where it was taken as a shot at everybody. That we are the elites, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that, but that's what happened. If you don't like it, you got to beat them. Like, and that's point blank.
100%. Yeah. Like, you want to be the elite, you got to beat the elite, right?
If you don't want him saying things like that, then you got to beat him.
And the course is the equalizer. It's like, that's our opportunity to do it, and that's basically them dumping emotion on us. And, this makes me think, sidebar request, but, Aaron is so competitive, yet he thinks of others as somebody was trying to interview you in the middle of a race.
Oh my god!
Like hour 10, and he screams at the top of his lungs, "Dylan, get over here!" Like he wanted to make sure that you made the corral so bad that
he wasted energy.
He just screamed like he was worried for you to not get in there.
Yeah,
and,
somebody grabbed my arm. Maybe that was Aaron.
It was Aaron.
Pulled me into the
came
corral.
in there and got you, and like that's the kind of guy that Aaron Dana is. He's there to win. Trust me. The dude is, but he cares about how far other people go too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that is true. Yeah. Tyson, he didn't know how much time was left. I guess he told me afterwards how bad he felt. But I was mere seconds from being eliminated from the race because they were like interviewing me.
It's not their fault.
And then Tyson told me they didn't even get the recording.
Oh man.
Because that would have been gold footage too.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Just rushed out of the interview. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else like funny that happened. I don't remember a ton. There's just so much that goes on in the loop. That's a good time that I just don't remember.
Yeah, I just wish I would have gotten more opportunities to run a little bit with Mark and actually talk to him because he seems like a very likable person. Yeah. He's a great person, and I did share some loops with Harvey, but I wish I would have.
Harvey was great.
Maybe dropped back and got to know Mark a little more and got my opportunity with talking with someone like that who is elite and what he's going through. And, I know you did with the whole, he said the course is different, which
he
Makes me
said
think that he grinded for a long time and some pain. So.
Yeah, also have to give credit where credit's due with 11-year-old Alex Paget.
Ooh,
oh my god.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Yeah, over 11 hours, so close to intermission, and 11 years old.
I think if he sticks with it, he's going to be one of the elites.
Yeah, and he had to, so he was not in the race on the wait list, but I believe he was told secret time that if he won the 5K, he would get into the race the next day.
And he blasted
went out and blasted the 5K. Apparently fell down horrifically. My family said they saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
And busted his knee up. We saw him, and he ran the 3 loops in 35 minutes. Right. So sub 12 minutes per loop for 3 loops.
And you're talking about ran the race at 15:30.
So, and he was fun out there. He asked a lot of questions, which like at some points you're like, Alex, I really can't talk right now. Like I don't know how you are just he was running up Myers at one point. Like he would just start running up it.
Yeah, he said he had a poop loop and he had to run, and he was just running up the hill, and I couldn't talk, barely could talk at that point, and he's just hammering up the hill.
He was so impressive.
I think he's got more in him too. I mean, next year might be scary.
Yeah, very impressed by Alex. Very impressed by Nate, my buddy. Like his big goal was to make it to intermission, and he was hours past that. I don't know what his mileage ended up being.
51 or
okay.
He's in the 50s.
51
or 52 maybe.
That blows out what he's done there before.
Yeah,
and
way up there.
That was the thing. So to see, somebody that's like real close to me, and if you guys are looking for a race similar to this, that's not next June. He runs one in Idaho called Income Last Man Standing, 1.1 mile loop. I think it's a little less elevation, like 250 or so.
August 14th.
Per loop. Yeah, August 14th, 20 minutes. And nobody's ever done 100 miles out there. So if you're looking for a challenge and you're available, just look up Income, like INKOM, Last Man Standing. It's on Ultra Sign Up. Pretty cheap. I think it's right around the $100 mark. So it's a challenge, I know Nate really wants me to go out there. I have no idea. It's not an easy trip, but I really want to be able to, But so just if you know anybody, looking or you're looking, definitely check it out. Definitely. It's on a lavender farm that he owns. Like his family built the town of Income essentially. Like I was hearing that story out on the loop. I didn't even know that.
Super pretty.
And yeah, it's freaking awesome. But yeah, he had a great race too, man. It was just really cool to see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see the results. I had so many friends out there do well. Cody Leonard, Brian Baker, Matt Johnson had another great year. He took 4th overall.
Yeah. Matt went deep.
Yeah, Matt's a dog. It's such a gray man to the race too. Like so much knowledge in him, but you got to suck it out of him. But he's awesome.
He was super quiet at first, but and then I started learning a lot about him being a teacher, and he just finished up summer school and like the week prior. And
he's got 2 kids that play sports.
I was like, wow, extremely unique.
He's a very good dude. Yeah. And then like you talked about, Brian Baker had a great year again.
Insanely fit. It's like watching a bodybuilder just hammer mountains.
And remember, he was cramping at like mile 20. And he's like, and Nate told me about it. So then I caught up to him and I'm like, Brian, you need potassium. And then I looked at Nate because Nate had this issue like a couple months ago, and I go, Nate, get potassium pills. Like that's what's probably causing your issues. I don't take them. Like I get it from electrolytes and I'm okay. But I know that it's something that cured my cramps when I started running early. So Nate got all this stuff for it. I don't even know what it is. And then so Nate's wife started hooking Brian, and we're talking 20, 30 miles. It was early. It wasn't very far. Before intermission because it was still daytime. And Brian's a guy that's trained for this hardcore. Won the Tennessee Mile last year, took top 10 at MidState last year as well. And so we're like, we can't see Brian go out. Nate gets him the potassium stuff. And Brian goes however far he ended up going. I mean, we're talking 20 more hours probably or more. But it's like, that's what MidState is. Once again, we go back to what the community is. Somebody was having an issue out there. We all identified it together. One person's like, you need potassium. One person has potassium, gets the person that needs it, and bingo, cramps are gone. And the dude ends up with the top 10 and a huge PR. And like, that's what it's about. And that's what's kind of nice about MidState is, like, so Chad Wright, big on don't vocalize your issues, right? Yeah. But literally in this instance, if Brian doesn't say anything, he never gets what he needs, and then possibly his race ends. And that's like, so it's kind of give or take with the voicing what's going wrong, because we course corrected somebody in the middle of the race because we're so close talking. You can't get this in a 100-miler. If you're out at mile 70 by yourself and you start cramping, you're probably done, big dog. Yeah. And that's just it. But out here, it's like, hey, I have this issue. Does anybody know how to fix this? And it's like, I think I do. And this guy's like, I think I have that. And it's like, all right, let's get you fixed up. And then he's fixed up. So that was kind of cool to see and be a part of just a little bit.
Yeah, I think people are a lot more vocal whenever the crowd is big. And then I can see what Chad Wright's saying. Whenever the crowd dwindles down and there's only a couple of you, maybe you don't let them know that, you know, you're in pain over here on your right foot and it's, you know, you're missing 3 toenails and they just got to hang on a little longer. I can see that perspective, you know, hanging in there.
Gives people fuel later in the race.
Definitely would keep me going if I knew somebody was close.
Yeah. Who would you like to see back next year? If anybody. Or actually somebody that didn't run this year, who would you want to see in the race?
Someone that didn't run?
Yeah. Can't pick Chad, though.
Cam Haynes, my guy.
Oh, Cam Haynes. It's possible, too.
Hey, he said he's never been to the...
I talked to him about it at Cocodona, and
I would
he's
love
interested.
to see Cam Haynes out there, and I think he'd do well.
I think
Climbs mountains all the
well.
time. I would like one of these, and selfishly, I like hunting and, you know, being in the woods, and that's basically my foundation for climbing is, you know, hill country hunting, and I would love to see Cam Haynes out there.
That'd be sick. Yeah, Cam... Courtney would be sick. Courtney DeWalter. Somebody like that would be really cool to see out there. Or Rachel. I don't think Rachel ever does anything that's looped like this, though, because she's not...
Yeah.
From everything I've seen from her, she's never done loop stuff. So it's probably not up her alley. But yeah, Cam would be cool. Yeah, I would... I'd like to see Nicholas come back, too.
Leo? Nicholas Leo?
Just
That'd
see
be
where
awesome.
he's at, you know? If he's training.
any of the big runners I'd like to see out there. Kim Kendall, you know, I'd love to see the greats of, you know, backyard come into this space, and you know, maybe, you know, Mark said he probably would never run this again, but
is that what he said?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. He's like, but he also said that about Arrowhead, and he did it again. So it's like, I think he might be back. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think Harvey ever runs it again.
I don't know why he would until his records broke, but
he was hurting too after the race. Like, you see that video, he's like, I gotta run. He's got to run 250 miles like 5 days from now.
He was talking about that. He's like, and he's planning this. He's coordinating the race that they're doing or whatever.
Yeah, from DC to New York to DC.
Yeah,
right?
He's coordinating. He was talking about it. He's like, I got 250 miles. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to barely go to work after this. You're gonna go 250 miles. It's like, I can barely get up the elevator.
Yeah, that's how you just know that. You know, built different. Like, it's like this takes years to get that good at, right? Like, that's how good of a runner is. Like, somebody like Harvey Lewis is that at one point Harvey decided he was going to win Midstate, and nobody could do anything about it. Literally nobody could do anything about it.
Right, and I think a lot of things were going through his head, like the 250-mile race at one point, I'm sure he battled that in his head. Like,
I'm sure. Hey,
am I going to leave it all out here and struggle for the 250-mile race, or am I just going to conservatively get a good mileage that's respectable and, you know, and go run the 250? But at some point, he had to make that decision. He's like, well, I'm going to give everything I got, you know, and you could see it on the last sprint, how excited he was.
I'd like to see Eric come back too, Eric Kinley, because he was the last
I want to
course
see
record
Eric
holder.
battle with some of these.
And he's excited. Like, I talked to him
guys.
afterwards, and I was like, I told him, you know, I was in the dump still, but I was like, this looks bad. Like, the elite runners came out, crushed the course record. Like, I was in the dump spot. He's like, no. He's like, that's just a new bar. And he's right, completely. Like, it's just a new bar.
Yeah.
All that means is that, like, my mind did shift on this recently, that, like, what that means is we could go a lot farther than we thought. Because when you start getting close to a course record, you mentally probably start thinking, like, I'm getting close to at my end. You know what I mean? So the farther the course record moves away, really the farther every runner probably ends up getting, because, like, you're trying to get as close to that thing as you can.
That's extremely true. Through time, like, people have gotten faster in marathons. As soon as someone breaks the twos, right, and then you got 5 people breaking the twos. It's like, you know, it's like, it's just the mindset shifts. Whenever somebody has done it, you're like, why not me, right?
Yep.
Why not me? Why can't I do it? You know, and you just go a little bit further. Everybody goes a little bit further, and then the bar just keeps shifting, like Eric said.
With this race, the conditions, I think they definitely matter, and these ones were pretty close, minus that downpour they went through for a little while on Monday, but okay, what else you got, Graz?
I don't know. No more questions?
No, not that I can look, but I don't, unless one came.
You know what? I think next year, if afforded the opportunity, I think this year I put too much on my plate. Just to give y'all like a look into my life specifically, I know everybody has their issues. Wake up at 3:00. By 3:30, I'm moving towards the gym. We get to the gym, work out with you for an hour, probably 4 to 5. 5:00, I'm taking the hour drive to Nashville. I'm working all day. After that, I'm taking the hour drive back. Get home, got a family, got two boys and a wife, and I'm dealing with that for a little bit. Socializing, playing with my kids, and then immediately I'm working on my master's. And then finally I'm going to bed. And then on the weekends, instead of resting, I'm playing baseball, right? I'm playing men's baseball. So something that I may not do in the future is have so many things on my plate. Hopefully, I will be done with my master's this year. And I think next year I will not play baseball or have any side quest, even though, fingers crossed, I always do. Building beds, moving. I've moved in this time frame when I'm in the training block, running. I think I will solely focus on what's ahead of me. That way I can give the best effort and give the best opportunity for me to perform.
Yeah.
So.
No, well said. It's hard to do. But Becca will talk about this. Anybody will talk about this. And I wasn't going to talk about it too much, but every piece of stress that you're experiencing before the race is going to move into the race. I think Becca and Matt, we talked at Double GDR, and it's like you only have a certain amount of bandwidth to deal with things and pour into stuff, and if you think about them in jars and you're putting into, like you said, your master's degree jar, and then your family jar, and then your baseball jar, and then your lifting jar, and then like how much do you have left for your running jar, you know what I mean, or anything else, and you're trying to shift these things around at any given time. And it's hard, 2 weeks before the race, like I'm going through a breakup, and I didn't eat or sleep well for an entire week, and it's nobody's fault. I initiated it, and I think that it's going to be better for everybody eventually, but not ideal, 2 weeks before the race. And it's just, and it's not that that's like a huge deal to what happened in the race, but it's just something else,
Right.
And it's just, like you said, moving or building a bed that caused this or that. I'm not saying that, you're not saying the bed was the issue, right? Or it hurt you or something, but it's just something, an anxiety that adds to when you're trying to pour so much into one thing. It all comes out. We only have so much capacity to do so much. And it's why you see people like Rachel Intrikin do what she did at Cocodona. First, she's won Cocodona 3 years in a row for the women's side, right? This is her first year sponsored, running professionally with no job, and she crushes her own record and the full course record. It's like things are lifted. Doesn't have to worry about this or that. You know what I mean? The race is paid for. My nutrition is taken care of. Like she talks about, a full nutritionist just telling her what to eat, what to do, where to show up. Shows up to weeks prior to Arizona. Like all these things. That's why there's levels to this stuff, And so anybody doing it well and doing all these life things, kudos to you.
Right.
Because it ain't easy,
There's quite a few people doing it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are all doing it. And we're going to continue to do it that way for the most part. But like you're saying, the best thing you can do is try to minimize the stressors that I would say are unnecessary. It's just about mitigation and moving things around. But it's definitely tough. And it comes out in the loop. You think about all these things that you've been going through and that have caused you issues, that your training wasn't as perfect as you wanted it to be, and it gets dark. It gets dark quick.
Does.
Yeah.
Go run it and find out.
Yeah, folks, if you're looking to sign up for also wait, shout out to John, Becca, of course. I think we've talked about them plenty, but they're the race directors. All the sponsors, I know Joshua Brandt, Friction Prescription, Fooster, Inkum, nailed it. Nailed it. I hope John listens.
Oh man,
because
he's got that down pat.
He
and
does have that down
and
pat.
his speech is top notch.
Yeah, John's speech is great.
Top
Follow the
notch.
MidState Mile on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. But the race is every Father's Day weekend in June, and it goes live for registration on January 1st at noon. At least it has in the past. We're just going to go with it. It's going to stay the same.
Yeah.
How it works is everybody signs up as fast as you can. If you have never ran MidState or Tennessee Mile, you need to be as quick as you can on the button, because how it works is everybody signs up. There's some sort of grace period. I don't know how long that is, but then past mid-state runners are the first ones selected into the race. And this is all based on the past, so I don't know if they're doing this again, but I would just assume this is how it goes. Past mid-state runners go in the race first, then past Tennessee Mile runners, which is the December race, same course, just fixed time, look it up. Then they go into the race. After that, essentially first come, first serve on who clicked the button fast enough with some hand-picked folks, which is like, it's pretty much called a race director's discretion. Like they get a certain percentage of runners that they can hand-pick. People like a Harvey Lewis or a Mark Dowdle, they can grab them last minute and put them in the race.
Yeah, but rightfully so.
It sells out in a day. Mm-hmm. So be quick if you want to run it. If you want any more information, you can hit us up. You know, I know way too much about it, but it's an amazing event. Really blessed to be a part of it and spend so much time with so many of my friends and new friends as well. So, and it was great to run it with you too, dude. Like,
yeah, man.
It's our first race, really. I mean, we ran Snaketail together, but to do this one was special. We were together in the same tent, essentially went out at the same time, which kind of sucks, but maybe next year it's a lot farther down the road of the race. You know, that's the plan.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll go further.
Yeah, that's right. All right, folks. So this week we'll put out a Grateful Sunday episode. I know I missed one, but I was obviously a little preoccupied. But we'll do Grateful Sunday this Sunday. And just give this a listen, share, follow, like, whatever. Also follow Graz. Just stay stashing on Instagram. And
keeping this around.
Yeah. I'm stashless at this point. But yeah, we'll be back. We just appreciate everybody tuning in, listening. Leave a comment if you liked it. You know, if you got some constructive criticism, I'm super open to that. We're super new to this, just kind of having a good time. So thank you once again. This is the Made New Project. We are out.